support and expertise and ideas and continual productivity. All the volunteers helping out here today are league members, and that includes men.
Recording in progress.
Thanks especially to Valerie Levenstein for pulling this all together. And thank you to the Shelter Island Library for your willingness to host us on a Sunday, for their expertise, and for their responsiveness to the literary, intellectual, civic, and educational needs of the entire community. Please be aware that the library expansion vote is on June 17th. And in years to come, we hope for bigger seating for this event. The League of Women Voters is nonpartisan. We never promote or endorse any candidate of any party. Today's event presents the Democratic candidates vying to be on the ballot in November. But the League has no stake in the outcome other than to provide information for voters. Today we have two panels of candidates. First, Jerry Siller and Gordon Gooding, who are running for supervisor. The second, Bert Waite, Albert Dixon, and Benjamin Diet, who are running for the two open seats on the town board. Each panel will run just short of an hour, and at the conclusion of both panels, all candidates will gather again to answer written questions from the public. Some of the questions will come from emails sent in beforehand. Today's live audience may write questions on cards. If you didn't take cards before, raise your hand and a volunteer will provide some. Volunteers will gather them at the end of each panel, or you can drop them in baskets between the panels. We will not announce any names of the questioners. And all questions must be respectful. And we will not be taking questions from Zoom attendees who did not submit them earlier. We ask our live audience not to respond to any candidate's answers or to applaud or heckle. Make your choices at the ballot box. The primary will be held on June 27th, with early voting starting about 10 days prior. It's possible that this event today will run later than 3 p.m. to allow for time to respond to questions. We welcome our in-person audience and Zoomers, as well as those who will watch this event when it goes up on Channel 22 and on the town's website. Now let's get started. I am happy to introduce our moderator, Joanne Rabati.
Thank you, Lois. So any of you who have been in a meeting that I've run, you know I run a really tight meeting. We do have rules, and we will adhere to those rules. Anyone who doesn't will be asked to leave. Each of our candidates will have an opening statement of 2 minutes. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, the first question. I will ask a first question. Each of our candidates will have 2 minutes to respond, and then we'll begin going into a rotating list of questions. You drew cards so Gordon, you are our first up. So please tell us, why are you running for office?
Sorry.
Wait, Joanne?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, and we have timekeepers here, Valerie and Lois. Gentlemen, you'll get a 30-second warning, and then when the stop sign goes up, you're out of time. Go to it.
My name is Gordon Gooding. There are multiple reasons, but I think it really boils down to what I am trying to do in this election, to restore some trust here in the town. I'd like to restore some trust in the town. I think that we need to get back to a respectful exchange between people, and have good recourse and good dialogue between different people in the town. I always talk, and people have heard me before talk about tolerance. I believe in tolerance in discussions, and I think there's a thing that's called compromise. Okay, and I think that we really have to be able to learn how to do that and hear every member of the community have their say. I can elaborate, but I'm not gonna take any more time up, I'm fine.
Jerry?
I came back into office with two specific goals in mind: housing and quality of water. Unfortunately, the first year, we were sidetracked with the pandemic, and we put all our efforts into keeping the town safe and open and running, which we did. Since then, I've worked with the town board very hard to address housing and water. I think a lot of people feel I'm a little too pushy, but that's what we do. We try to get things done. That's the only reason I came back, was to get things done, not to talk about them ad nauseam. I feel very comfortable that the town board is open to the public. We listen to everyone. I don't know where this comes from. I'm shaking the head in the audience that we don't listen to the public. We do nothing without having a public forum first and discussing it and hearing from the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jerry, first question. Many large town infrastructure projects are now under consideration by the town board, such as a wastewater treatment plant, affordable housing, new municipal water systems, and shellfish seeding, just to name a few. Even with the help of grants, as we all know, town money is not infinite. With limited funds, what are the infrastructure projects that you believe the town must get started on immediately?
Well, first of all,
You have 2 minutes,
Okay,
and then Gordon has a
right.
minute to
With
rebut.
the limited funds, the town has instituted user fees wherever possible to eliminate excess tax burdens. So we have funding for various departments to work with. As far as priorities, obviously the water in the center of town is the #1 priority. We're working on grants for that. We're eligible for WQI money for that. And the town, quite honestly, has zero debt service. So if we had to go to bonds, we would.
Okay. Gordon, 1 minute to rebut, if you wish.
I tend to, there are some things that we do agree with, okay? The concept and the issues, I think, are real. I think the way we handle the issues is the issue of why I'm running for office, okay? I think that the wastewater issue, it doesn't make any difference which way you go. I think the community needed to have better input, okay, and I think some of the experts that came forward who presented really good, challenging points of views, it should have been up on the town website, and I think we could have used it a little bit better.
Can you speak up?
Okay, I have to guess it's closer to the mouth, okay. So anyhow, I think it should have been more, the community should have been more engaged in the decision-making or actually the outcome of it.
Can I read?
No, you can't. Sorry. Okay, Gordon. Residential and commercial development over recent years seems increasingly to cater to exclusive, wealthy clientele, resulting in a widening us versus them division. Do you think it's possible to balance the island's economy and opportunities to encompass every shelter islander, part-timer and full-timer? And if so, how would you do it?
That's a real good question, because we hear this all the time, that it's not an us and them, and yet some of our dialogue is so divisive when we talk about well-heeled people, the elitism. I think we gotta get away from this us and them, and it's really we, okay? We are a community, and we should be all working together, regardless of whether you're a hair-legged here, you work here full-time, or you're a resident commuting here on weekends. I think we just gotta get away from that kind of dialogue.
And how would you do that?
You do that by having a more open dialogue. I think there's some things, even in our meetings, that can change some of that. We instituted a 3-minute rule, okay, which I think during COVID really carried over. And I think it limited the people to have access to be able to talk to the town board in any reasonable way. Okay, I think that's one of the things that I am exploring, how we can do this differently so everyone in the community has a voice.
Thank you. Jerry, you have a minute?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Residential and commercial development over recent years seems to increasingly cater to an exclusive, wealthy clientele, resulting in a widening us versus them division. Do you think it's possible to balance the island's economy and opportunities to encompass every Shelter Islander, whether they're part-time or full-time? And if so, how would you do it? You have 1 minute to rebut.
I mean, there's a very simple answer to that. The only way to address it is affordable community housing. Unless we have the diverse community to begin with, we're not gonna have an us versus them. We're gonna have us who are not the entire island. So it's very simple. We have to address it through housing.
Thank you. Okay, Jerry, 2 minutes. Some other East End municipalities have hired professional town managers and/or town planners, which effectively take a lot of weight off the town board. Do you think the time has come to create such positions on Shelter Island? Please explain.
I think the town board has made efforts to go forward with that. We've increased administrative staffing to work with us to do some of that. I've never seen a definition from the people that are calling for a town planner. What a full-time town planner is doing in Shelter Island. That's why you elect the town board. And that's why the town board empowers their committees and their planning board and zoning board to work with us. So I think we are doing that. I don't want to embarrass her. Christine Martin is here, our administrative assistant, who has taken the first step towards being the town manager. So I think we're well on our way to addressing the needs.
Thank you, Gordon.
Well, I guess we have to really start to define what a town manager is or a town planner is, okay? And by having administration within the town trying to run its own business, okay, I don't think that really defines what a town manager is, okay? What we need is we need continuity from one administration to the next. The serious issues, okay, have to be looked at more with professional eyes and people who are in that business, okay? You know, we all are laymen and we all come from different backgrounds, but we do need that expertise. And that's one of the things on my agenda going forward. I think we need it and we gotta have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Gordon, the town board has contracted with Suffolk County Water Authority to manage the West Neck water system for 40 years. Do you think the town should now consider having Suffolk County Water create, install, and manage new water districts or systems throughout the island? Please explain.
The issue with Suffolk County Water, let's go back to the beginning, okay, is that once we have to address the nitrates and the quality of our aquifer right now. My fear is with Suffolk County, okay, is that if we bring water in, okay, what's the incentive to try to clean up our septics? Are we gonna, when people have good, clean water, you go back to them and ask them, well, you gotta put an IA system in, I think it's very marginal. But the other bigger issue, okay, is that with Suffolk County Water, it allows you to do development, okay? And how are we gonna control that development? How do we prevent, not this administration, not the present administration, how do we control not slicing and dicing land and increasing density? I think that's really the big issue here. And I think it's not about, contrary to what we hear, you know, we have to take care of the center. That's not the issue. And it's not about not wanting affordable housing and some of the things that have been spoken about. What we really need, okay, there are other ways we can look at water. I mean, it hasn't been spoken about, but you know, even community wells should be something that we can talk about for whether it's community housing or improving water conditions. That's my answer.
Thank you. Jerry?
Just so everyone understands, Suffolk County Water Authority does not need the town's approval to put water on the island. As long as they get 40% of an area that wants it, they're entitled to put it in. The town is working very hard in discussions with Suffolk County Water, not only for public water, but how to address the long-term aquifer problems with IA systems, with the center of town, that way going forward. It's not just nitrates in the water. There's saltwater intrusion on the outside of the island. There's parts of the island that can't get water. There's future contaminants that we're going to deal with. That's one of the main reasons we're pushing the wastewater treatment in the center, is to address contaminants that aren't on the list yet or are just getting on the list.
Thank you. Jerry, State grants of up to $125,000 are currently available for resident homeowners to create ADUs, accessory dwelling units, on their properties for permanent rental housing. But state regulations do not cap those rents that can be charged for the ADUs. How is this a solution for singles and young families who can't afford to live on the island? Please explain.
Yeah, sure. The Community Housing Board is working very hard on this. We got a grant, as you mentioned, for $2 million, one of 10 in the whole state. Requirements that we're gonna put in place are that it has to be a year-round rental, and it'll have to be affordable rental. You know, to administer the grants, they have to meet criteria set by the locality and the Community Development Corp of Long Island. So we're addressing that possibility that somebody can't come in, get a grant, and then do a seasonal rental.
Or a above market rent.
Right.
Gordon?
The ADUs, I think this is one of the reasons why we do need a town planner or a town manager. You know, the conversation of doing these ADUs in the shoreline, near shoreline overlay, where it's the most critical and most sensitive waterways, okay, water, not only for drinking, but also for our bays and creeks, okay. I don't know whether that's really the first place we should start. There have been, although it's not been asked, it's only a proposal, I think we ought to stay away from the critical, the most sensitive areas of the island. The question that I don't have an answer for, I know there was COVID money as well that was given to the town, and I'm hoping that sometime during this meeting, I could find out where that money was placed. Thank you.
Okay. Gordon? Transparency is a term that is frequently mentioned as being important in government, and lack of transparency is leveled as a serious criticism. What does transparency mean to you, and how will you intend to demonstrate it in the next administration?
Well, you know, the transparency is not throwing things out on the table at the very last minute. There's a basic breakdown of style between myself and the current supervisor. He tends to want to keep it close to the chest, and I would really prefer to really share those obstacles, because I think that the community are adults, and I think they should be involved every step of the way. I can only go back to why I'm really running, which is basically it starts over, not to bring up a sore subject, but Clinoicus, okay? I don't think by laying something down and no one being aware of it, at least me not being aware of it before it came down, I don't think that's a good way of creating consensus. I think that you should share what your thoughts are. It doesn't have to be hard and fast, but I think the plans, putting big plans forward, the public is entitled to know what's going on.
Thank you. Jerry?
Yeah, I'll give you a lesson in reality. If you want to get things done, you have a plan, then you present it to the public to discuss. If you start from day one trying to, what should we do, how do we do it, nothing will get done. The way I work is I identify problems, I try to find solutions, then I bring them to the town board, then we bring them to the public. There is full transparency. Nothing has ever been done without the public's full awareness of it. Maybe they wanted to know sooner, but that makes no sense because they learned about it and they could act on it when we needed to be acted on.
Thank you. Okay. Jerry? Broadly, municipal comprehensive plans are meant to set forth vision and goals for the future, as well as the steps to achieve them. If the new comprehensive plan is approved, will you, and you are reelected, will you as supervisor feel obligated to follow its requirements, or do you see them only as guidelines and suggestions?
I was involved in the implementation of the original comprehensive plan, and we created the nearshore overlay district because of the comprehensive plan, and we addressed zoning issues because of it. In this administration, I allocated the funding to go forward with the comprehensive plan. So yes, Joanne, it's obvious that the town board supports it, and we will go forward with it.
Gordon?
Well, think this is again another one of these issues, okay, where there's a difference in style, okay? I think that not only, I think some of the committees, okay, are steered. I think the committees that within the town, whether it be or any of the committees, and even with the comprehensive plan, I think they should be not steered, but I think they should be allowed to pursue things, and I don't know why we're in such a rush to complete this. I think we're better taking the time to do it right, and unless there's something urgent that I'm not aware of, because again, when you keep things close to the chest, you never know what the incentives are. Thank you.
Okay. Gordon? Discussion of town issues have lately become very heated and polarized. Elected and appointed officials and the public often behave angrily and accusingly at town and committee meetings. Ads and letters to the editor, in the Reporter, not to mention Facebook community pages, are becoming increasingly vitriolic. What guidance will you offer to create a more civil atmosphere for community governance?
I'm gonna welcome people. I'm gonna welcome discourse. I'm gonna welcome people to come forward and speak. I'm not gonna argue with you when you come to talk before the town board and you're voicing your opinion. We're not gonna get into debates. Okay, we're gonna say thank you very much, and it requires more conversation. We will have conversation. I think the way these things have developed. I'm going to go off subject for a minute, but it's like, I think the issues that the town has picked up on water and these things, these are all very important issues. I think the issue is that the concept of we got to be inclusive. We got to buy consensus. The people have to believe in what you're doing, okay? And the only way they can do that is if you really communicate accurately with them and include them in the decision making, because obviously they're going to be part. If it works, it's part of their joy. If it fails, everyone else is part of the arrangement. But it can't be from a top down and then just throw it out. Okay, and that's really where I'm coming from. Thank you.
Jerry?
Yes, if you've been paying attention for the last 4 years, I've turned down my temper a little bit. You have to earn respect and you have to give respect. It's a two-way street. I don't tolerate people making things up, saying things that are outright lies in public and letting them say it. I will call them on it, and I will question them, and sometimes I will get a little excited. But for what Gordon said, after the fact, we do listen to everyone, and we take all that into discussion.
Thank you. Okay, Jerry. The town board, the planning board, and the zoning board of appeals make decisions that are sometimes disputed by the applicant. Given the rate of development on the island, do you think the town is prepared to meet the challenges of increasing litigation? And if not, what remedies do you propose?
I don't know that there are any remedies, because seems like the way to go now is litigation. The town has been involved in a lot of litigation just in the last 4 years. I don't want to get into specifics unless somebody asks, but it's reality that it's going to happen. We do everything by the book. We make sure the planning board and the zoning board are cued in with the attorneys. The town board makes sure that we're cued in with, what's the right thing to do. We do everything. That was one of the big issues that people were saying when I first came back was, well, that's how you guys do everything, but that's not what it says. That's not how the law works. So we're making an effort to make sure, even though it's been done this way forever, that we're doing exactly what the town code says. And if we need to change the town code, we will. But we're doing everything by the book. And no, we're never going to prevent people from suing the town.
Thank you.
Again, this is one of the reasons that I am running this year, okay, is because I really think that we've had more lawsuits than I've been sued myself individually. I think what you avoid lawsuits by communicating. You avoid lawsuits by sitting down and you try to work out your differences before you bring attorneys in. I think there have been some of those issues. You don't, and how do I say this, okay? we just have to be, you have to be able to sit down with people and talk to them, okay? And I think you can avoid a lot. By not talking to people and avoiding them and not doing certain things that you should be doing, that's what leads to these kind of issues that we currently have going on. Thank you.
Do you feel that Shelter Island, Gordon, is on the right path environmentally, including protection of our critical wetlands? Please explain.
I think the island, I think the current board is to be commended, okay? I think the mere fact that we brought up these important issues, okay, is something that's important. Do I think that we're addressing them correctly? Or do I think we're taking the right path or the right road? Is everybody being included? I don't think so, okay? I think the Center Wastewater Treatment is probably the best example because we've had very good minds come to this town board and to the community who had alternative methods. And it's not a question of, well, and stop using this language, okay, that you're against affordable housing or these elitism that live on Ram Island. That kind of discussion is really divisive. That's what creates this you and us, less them and us, kind of an atmosphere. I'm not going to do that. I can tell you that right now. That's not going to happen. But are we headed in the right direction? I'm glad you brought it up. And quite honestly, I want to address those issues head on going forward. Thank you.
Yeah, you're going to keep going back to the wastewater plant and the need for expertise. The town has a professional engineer on staff. The town hired an engineering consulting firm. The town hired a professional hydrologist. The town hired a second professional consulting engineering team to do a secret report for us. Each one of those groups said they've never done this kind of in-depth study for such a small project. We've answered every single question scientifically put to us. Every single question.
Okay, no. Okay, now we're going to segue into questions that were submitted. Oh, sorry. Okay, so they have their 2 minutes. You each have 2 minutes. No, you start, Jen. 2 minutes to sum up.
I'm going to read my closing. In closing, I want to thank everyone that took the time to be here today to give me the opportunity to summarize my experience as the supervisor of Shelter Island, allowing me to express my deep sense of commitment to all the people that live and work on this island. It's my honor to outline the challenges the town was able to endure and overcome in my tenure as supervisor in conjunction with the town board members and all the town departments, including assembling and working through a group to guide the town through the COVID pandemic, getting free vaccination distribution on the island, and keeping town hall open and the staff on call for all emergencies. In addition, I had the foresight to see the overdue needs of the West Neck Water District and worked with their board, evaluating all the options going forward, and then brought in Suffolk County Water Authority to manage the water district. This was done meticulously and took many months of negotiations, plus working with Red Deal to secure $500,000 in funding to offset the cost and repairs and improvements for the district. I can give you many examples of where I used my knowledge to make positive changes, as I presented in the State of the Town meeting last week. But there are many accomplishments that still need to be shared, like developing a strong professional administrative staff that cares about the island and wants to help serve our community. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to end with a quote. This is an email I got. Jerry, just a brief note to say thank you for considering all land options for the municipal wastewater system in the center. Your bold move to address water issues when others have not for many years is to be commended. In addition, you are correct that CPF could address other options when considering future acquisitions, which could be of benefit to all the community. I look forward to working with you in pursuing these goals. Gordon Goody.
You have 2 minutes.
Well, Jerry, I don't know, what was that at the very beginning, but.
No, January 22.
Excuse me.
You asked me a question.
Excuse me.
You asked me a question. Gordon, I answered it.
Okay, I guess you got so far. This is my closing statement, okay? I would like to thank the library for hosting this event, the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this debate, and Joanne Rabadi for being an excellent moderator. I made a note to myself here, and I know I'm running out of time, but good leaders don't blame residents or other people for the actions and decisions that are being made. This election is really about a choice, okay? You have a choice. Do you want more of the same, okay, or are you looking to go in a different direction? I see a caring community that is facing many challenges, many that have been discussed today and over the last few years. Unfortunately, I think the present discourse around these issues has become too divisive and toxic. I believe and I know we can do better as a community. Under my leadership, I will work with you, the community, to restore confidence in town government by being open and transparent, by promoting community involvement, respecting and listening to every one of you out here and anybody who wants to come to town, and to utilize the resources on and off the island to find the very best solutions. We will find these solutions together. We can do affordable housing without doing any downzoning or encouraging any building in fragile areas. We can find ways to ensure drinking water and ways to keep our harbors and bays clean without moving the problem from one area to another. We can encourage smart development that does benefit the island as a whole. This is the choice you have. You have a choice this election. I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So the way this will now proceed is our supervisor candidates will step aside. We'll be seating the town board candidates in a few moments. And at the conclusion of their question and answer period, we'll be doing community questions, right?
Yeah, and are all the board contestants here? Are they, okay, then we can start with 145 for the next one. Take a break, fill out card, go to the bathroom. Direct question,
Seventh inning stretch.
I'll give you his.